Firing a new legal weapon now. Investigative reporter Tim Minton's here with a story you'll see only on News Channel 4. Tim?
Chuck, Sue, he may or may not be New York City's worst landlord. He insists he's not a landlord at all. City housing bosses say he's been so successful at exploiting the system. This week they launched an unprecedented surprise counterattack. For months in 2001 and 2002, the city battled with the landlord of this Tremont building to get emergency repairs. Cracked walls and chipping lead paint were threatening young tenants like Kayla James. The city says Loran Realty, the registered landlord, is a front for Frank Palazzolo.
He really stands in a class by himself, unfortunately, because it's a class that has actually allowed many, many families to live in some really desperate conditions for a very long time.
So the commissioner, whose agency HPD protects tenants from irresponsible landlords, now in her final days in office, signed a subpoena. For the first time in HPD history, it's demanding stock certificates, tax returns, contracts, and checks to prove ownership. The subpoena lists 97 entities registered as managing agents of what the city calls Palazzolo buildings.
You know, you can run, but you can't hide.
HPD already has mortgage records, it says, link Palazzolo to the properties, including the corporate entity registered as Kayla's landlord. But neither that nor a court stipulation and a series of violations against the registered entity got results. So the problems finally had to be fixed by a city contractor at taxpayers' expense. But Kayla's parents say not before the girl suffered neurological damage from swallowing peeled paint.
And she would be eating like you see chalky looking stuff, you know, in her mouth, little rocks.
The James family's hired an attorney, and suddenly the city has a powerful ally in its intensifying fight to unmask Palazzolo. Johnny Cochran's firm is on the case.
It's outrageous that a landlord would knowingly expose an infant to a recognized danger that causes brain damage. It's disgraceful.
The Cochran firm joins others in taking on Palazzolo's alleged properties. Nerea Martinez was in the bathroom last summer when the ceiling came crashing down on her head. The horror followed, Nerea's mother says, months of complaints about unrepaired leaks from above, which is why the family attorney says she's suing Palazzolo too.
These poor people have no recourse, and he should be held personally responsible.
As he did when we first visited his office about building conditions last summer, Frank Palazzolo declined to be interviewed on camera. But reacting to the city subpoena, he told a News Channel 4 producer, "We're happy they're requesting information. We are confident that after seeing the tax returns, they will finally once and for all know that I do not own these buildings." Palazzolo acknowledges having an interest in the buildings until we ran a story last month that focused attention on him. When this, he uses an expletive here, hit the fan, he says, "I got out."
Listen, it's very simple.
Whatever he is or isn't, Palazzolo's a survivor. When Jerilyn Perine leaves government service tomorrow, the real estate executive will have outlasted 5 HPD commissioners, as thousands of violations piled up against buildings the city claims he owns.
If you are going to use corporate law to evade your responsibilities on their housing maintenance code, yes, it'll make it a little harder for us, and yes, it'll take a little bit longer, but we will pursue you.
In addition to fighting back with a subpoena, the city's taken control of one building and is asking a judge for 8 more. And today, Mayor Bloomberg appointed Commissioner Perine's successor. A spokeswoman for Sean Donovan says the new boss is just as committed to the pursuit of Palazzolo. If you have information about this or any story we should investigate, call our confidential tip line at